If you're a lifter who's dealing with an injury right now, then there's a good chance that you've heard what pretty much everybody else has heard at some point in time, and that is just rest it or just stop lifting. Your doctor or physical therapist will probably tell you that you should just stop squatting or deadlifting or pressing or doing the moves that hurt in general, or that you just have to stop lifting altogether in order to solve your pain or injury. And most lifters try to do the right thing and actually take that advice, so they take a few weeks off or a few months off, and at first things seem to get better. The pain settles down and they think, okay, maybe things are finally starting to get a little bit better. And then they try to get back to training, and typically the pain just comes right back, sometimes as bad as before, and sometimes even worse than before, or with lighter weight than before. And if that's been your experience, then I want you to know something. That's not bad luck, and it also doesn't mean that you're broken. It's actually a really predictable outcome. And in this video, I'm going to cover why just giving your injury complete rest, or just completely avoiding the lifts that hurt, or your training altogether, is actually the thing that keeps a lot of lifters injured for longer than they need to be. Now, to be completely clear, there are some times where rest is actually the right answer. If you've got a new fracture or an acute ligament, muscle, or tendon tear, or if you have some other sort of medical emergency, then complete rest is often the right answer. But most of the lifters that I work with are dealing with persistent back pain, shoulder pain, knee pain, things that aren't actual medical emergencies. These are things that have been hanging around for months or maybe even years, and while they can be really impacting their training and their lives, and sometimes the pain can be quite bad, they're not usually things that require this level of complete rest. And I've worked with hundreds of lifters in this exact situation: powerlifters, Olympic weightlifters, strongman athletes who've been dealing with pain and injury for a long time and have tried complete rest, traditional physical therapy, and any other rehab exercise or plan that they can find online. So when I say this, it's coming from a lot of real world experience. Rest is one of the most overprescribed and under-effective solutions for a lifting-related pain or injury. And the reasons that it keeps getting recommended are actually pretty simple. The first is that complete rest just feels safe. If you're having pain or limitation with a specific activity or weight or lift, then not doing that movement or that activity makes a lot of sense, and you're probably not going to have as much or if any pain. And secondly is that most physical therapists and other rehab or medical providers unfortunately don't know a lot about lifting, if anything at all. So because of that, they think that heavy lifting is dangerous or bad, or they just don't know enough how to actually help their lifting clients modify their training around an injury, so they just tell them to stop training or stop the painful lifts altogether. The real issue is that rest often feels like it's working at first. The pain settles down, you're not constantly worrying about it, and things just typically feel a little bit better when you are resting. And this actually creates the sense that you're healing and truly getting better. But what's really happened is just that you've simply reduced the stress on the system, and that doesn't mean that you necessarily actually have gotten better or solved the issue for good. And this is the part that actually catches a lot of lifters in a very vicious cycle of rest and re-injury. While you're just resting or completely avoiding the painful movements, your tolerance to those activities and that style of training is actually also going down at the same time. Your tissues aren't being challenged, your nervous system just gets more protective, and your confidence in certain movements or ways of moving and training your body also goes down. So when you come back to training, you're just asking a less prepared system to handle the same type of training demands that you had before, and it often just sets off that pain or injury again right away. And honestly, none of that should be surprising. If you are regularly training your squat for several training blocks and your 1 rep max keeps on going up, and then you suddenly take 8, 12, 16 weeks off of squatting, you know that when you get back to squatting again, you're going to feel a lot weaker, and weights that you could move with ease before are now going to feel a hell of a lot heavier. And lifting related pain works that same way. Most lifting related injuries happen as a result of a mismatch between what you're asking your body to do and what it can actually handle at that point in time. These are things like sudden increases in volume or intensity, not adjusting your training around big life factors, accumulating too much fatigue, and also trying to get back to training too quickly after a period of time off. And rest doesn't fix that mismatch, it just delays you from having to deal with it. So the likely solution to your lifting related pain or injury isn't just complete rest or avoiding the painful movements, is to train in a way that gradually rebuilds that tolerance. You can modify your training around pain injuries a number of different ways. You can change the volume, the intensity, the tempo, range of motion, and the variation of the exercises that you're doing, so you can find a way to train with minimal to no symptoms and then progress that over time as your pain subsides. I actually made a whole video breaking down in depth how I go about this with my own clients, and I'll link it below if you want to check that out, so you can find a little bit more information on how to actually go about this process of modifying your training around your own pain or injury. In my experience, the lifters who actually get out of pain long term aren't the ones who just rest the longest until their pain subsides. They're the ones who intelligently modify their training around their injury rebuild their tolerance step by step, and slowly rebuild their confidence in their own body and their injury over time. So if you've been stuck in the cycle of resting, coming back, and just getting re-injured again, I want you to hear this. You didn't fail rehab, and you're not broken. You just haven't been given a plan that respects your pain without just surrendering to it. If you're looking for one-on-one help solving your own injury and getting back to the training that you love, then click the link below and request a free phone consultation with me and my team.